Hi everybody, this is Tor Storley again, and I wanted to do a follow-up video to my Export Excel from Oracle video. And in this video, I just wanted to touch on a couple of more topics related to that, such as how can I import a file of different forms, whether it's a binary file or a text file, large file, into a Oracle table as well. Okay, so let us set up the environment we're going to be importing the files into and creating the files from. So what I got here is I got run as system user. In my environment, there is an Excel demo user, and then you have this Oracle 21C XE, which is the system user. If I open up the properties here, and you look at it, you can see this is the system user right here, running as a sysdba. That's the one I'm going to be granting permissions or privileges from. And then the other one is going to be the Excel demo user, as you can see up. And again, this Excel demo user I set forth in the previous video that dealt with exporting files, or Excel files, I should say, from Oracle. That previous video I did about this. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to choose the system account here, Oracle 21C XE. Then I'm going to grant table creation to the Excel demo schema or user, I should say. So let me run that statement. And as you can see, grant succeeded. Now I want to switch over to the Excel demo here. So I'm inside here. And what I want to do here, if the table already exists, which I think it does, you can see it here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that table so we can get a clean start. So as the Excel demo user, I'm just going to run this part. And you can see the table was dropped. So if I refresh up here now, you can see the table is gone. Immediately I want to turn around and recreate this table. And we'll look at these field names in 1 second here. So let me run that because I gave permission to create a table using the system user here to Excel demo. So let me create that table inside the Excel demo schema. So let me run there. And you can see the table was created. Let's refresh. Here you can see here's the table. So if you look at the table now, you can see it's empty because we haven't inserted anything. But if you look at the structure, you can see there is an ID and it's a type number. And all of these are nullable. Of course, this is not the way to set it up. The IDs should be obviously not nullable. This should be the primary key. However, this is for demo purposes. I have a club or character large object field that I have here, and they're nullable. I have a binary large object field name here. And then I just have a character field name that's gonna variable character field name that's going to hold the name of the file. So that's what this table is doing. So now I created the table. I'm going to switch back to system user. So now I'm back as system user. And I want to run some grants on this table. So I'm going to grant, select, update, delete, and insert on this new table to Excel demo. So let me just run that quick. And you can see the grant succeeded. Another thing I want to do, I want to grant access to this Excel demo directory that Oracle we set up. I want to grant read access to Excel demo user for that directory. So let me run that. And you can see it succeeded. And if we go now and look at the directory again, we'll just open this guy and you can see here is the Excel demo directory. And you can see the privileges rewrite. Okay, so now we got that set up. Let's go back and do one more thing. As system user, I'm going to be running a select query so I can see what kind of character set is the default set that we're running here. So let me run that. And as you can see, it returns a UTF-8 character set. So this is our default character set that I used in the database. So that's the one I want to use. And if you remember back to when I was working on the PowerShell, you can see here that when I spool out that file, the encoding was UTF-8. So that's the one that we want to also bring in to Oracle as UTF-8. So hopefully that goes okay. So now that we have set up the necessary privileges, we are ready to go. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running the script here. Notice I have my reference to my variables, and I have this if statement here that says basically if the file exists, which is this B file name of US Food Restaurants Compressed JSON, if that exists and it's not open, then go ahead and open it, read-only format, and then grab the size, meaning the file size, and put it into this variable here, and then just write it out. So that's the B file that we're going to be reading in. Then I'm doing an insert into the table and create an empty club. So it's a replacement club right there inside the table, and I'm adding this US Food Restaurant Compressed. Then I'm selecting the newly inserted record here into this club, as you can see here, into this V club, which is this variable here, and I'm putting that into this variable based on that record. Then I'm opening up this V club, and then I'm passing it in to this function in the dbms lob package. And as you can see, I'm passing in this empty club from the table. I'm passing in the locator that's pointing to that file in the B file directory. And because it's open now, I load that stuff into it. Then I'm setting some additional parameters here, which is part of this function. So you have the destination offset, the source offset, which we set to 1 up here, remember? And that's an in-out parameter, and will keep changing as it reads. Then you have the character set, and I set it to UTF-8, which is consistent with what's in the database right now. And then we have this language context variable integer here, and it's set to this, and that's part of the package. And then you can set up a warning message if you want to. So here I'm pointing into that warning message. If you find that you can't convert into characters, whatever is passing into the file, then you basically spool out this message, this error message. Then I'm outputting the length of the V club, which comes from the table, the empty club that I created. And that now has probably been loaded into using this function. So that has a certain size, should match this, if it's going okay. It will print that out here, and then I'm closing both the table club and the pointer to the B file that we set up here. And then I have some if statement that basically says, hey, if the size of the club that you read in from the file is the same as the one that we grabbed from the empty one from the table and loaded from the B file into this one, if the size of those are the same, then commit it. Otherwise, roll it back and raise an exception that the operation failed here after you print out this message. Now what happens is I'm going to go ahead and run this. So let me run this as a script. And as you can see, it ran successfully. But one thing I noticed, and that's the reason this if statement doesn't work, and that's why I commented out, the size is slightly different here between the two. So I can't use this if statement because otherwise I will never be able to commit it into the database. So when I look in the database now, you can see here is the record that I just loaded in. And if I try to open this here, you can see it has this text string, and I can take and copy that guy. So let's copy that. Let's open up Notepad, and let's just open up a new file, and let's paste that in. And as you can see here, if I go ahead now and format this a little bit so it's a little easier to read, you can see now I got, let's take this out. Now you can see I got all the JSON data that I just loaded in from that file. It's in here. But the length was but 3 bytes There was about 3 bytes difference, so that's why that if statement doesn't work. So sometimes you're going to have to test this out and make sure that it will actually work. That's the CLOB. Now, in this procedure here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually load another file in. But in this case, it is an Excel workbook. So it's not a JSON file. And here is the Excel workbook that I'm going to be loading in. So let me open up quick so you can see it. It's opening up, and if you watch my previous video of export from Oracle, this is the workbook we generated in that, or a similar one to that workbook. So as you can see, it has a few tabs and it's an Excel workbook. So I'm interested in loading that one into a table as well. So let's go back here to my script, and it's very similar to what we just did. There's a couple of differences, but I'm creating a B file and I'm pointing to this Excel workbook in this case, same directory. I create a couple of more variables, same source offset, same destination offset, and I'm creating a file size integer variable. And then instead of a CLOB variable, a character large object, I'm creating a binary large object, a blob. So I call it a V blob. Now in this case, I'm going to run this, hey, is the file open? And if the file exists, good, and not open, then get the length of the pointer file here, the Excel workbook, and put into this variable, and then open it as a read-only, and then just print out the size of the Excel workbook. Then I'm going to, the same thing, I'm going to insert into the table, but in this case I'm going to insert it into this blob location. So if you look here, I'm going to be inserting it into this, not this one. This will be null, this will have a value. So that's what this one is doing here. So an empty blob, and I'm passing in the name of the workbook. Then immediately afterwards, I select it out again into this blob variable. I open it here as a read-write. The previous one we did, this one, the CLOB from file, has more parameters than when you read a blob. The blob has the one from the table blob that we're going to be populating. It has the pointer to the file and the directory that we loaded, the read-only, that has been opened now. And we have the lob max size we choose, so we can load it all in memory. We have the destination offset and the source offset. That's it. We don't have the warning. We don't have the other character language reference and stuff because it's not needed here. And then I'm printing out the length of the blob. And then I'm closing both the pointer to the file and the blob we just created from the table. And then I'm writing this if statement again. I'm trying it out here. So if the size of the two blobs are the same, then commit it and print out, hey, you succeeded. Otherwise, roll it back and say it failed, and then raise this exception, which is part of this package. So let's see what happens when I run this script now. So I run the script, says it succeeded, and in this case, it actually did what it's supposed to do, because the B file size is the same as the blob file that we populated into the table. They both have the same size, and therefore it succeeded because the if statement worked. So if I go in here now and I look at the actual data, I should have a second row here with a null for the CLOB field and a record here in the blob field. What I can do here is I can double click here and it opens up this parameter, this dialog box. And what I can do is I can actually say, let's download that guy. Let's stick it into a folder here, maybe under the Tor folder. And let's call it ABC. I don't care what it's called. And it's of type XLSX. So it's an Excel file. So let's save that. Say OK. And let's go into that directory. So I'm going to open up that directory and see if I can locate that file. And we'll go to the Tor folder here. That's sorted in descending mode. And here it is. You can see here's ABC, was just created. And of course, if I open it now, if everything went well, and if it imported it correctly, and I saved it out again, you can see here it is. Here's your ABC XLSX file. So we're able to actually just view the file that we just loaded in to the Oracle table as well now. And of course, you could use code and write it out and, in a C# script or PowerShell script, and bring it down that way instead of doing manually like we did here. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, let me know. You can like it, and you can maybe subscribe to my channel, and hopefully you get something out of this. I look forward to see you again. Thank you so much for watching.